Hi, welcome to On the Edge. I am Matthew Wexler, your host, and you are watching Edge Media Network, your go-to source for LGBTQ plus news and entertainment. We can all use a laugh right now, and there is nobody with a sharper wit to offer observations about relationships, sexuality, race, and current events than today's guest. I would describe her as provocative, hilarious, groundbreaking, just a few of the adjectives I would personally attribute to the one and only Margaret Cho. From the college circuit to television and film and radio and off-Broadway hit, Margaret really captivates audiences in whatever medium she's working in. She was also honored earlier this year by the She Rocks Awards, and I am humbled to have her with us here today. She just wrapped filming Fire Island, which I can't wait to ask her about, and she's about to hit the road in her first ever North American headline tour. Let's take a look at one of my favorite Margaret Cho comedy moments.
I have a very Korean name. My Korean name is Moran. Moran! Moran! That's my mother calling me. Moran! That's a legit Korean name. I mean, it really is. It's actually the name of Kim Jong-il's production company. So, you don't want to face off with me as a Korean. I'm fucking really Korean. I really am Korean. But I have met people more Asian than me. I met a girl, her name was I was like, oh, that's pretty. Do you spell that with a C or K or? It's just like it sounds. You can call me Jay.
So funny. It's just the smallest sample of Margaret's humor. Of course, as I mentioned, you can see her full set on tour in her new show, Fresh Off the Bloat, this fall. And don't forget, we are live. If you have questions for Margaret, please drop them in the chat and hopefully we'll be able to answer some of them for you. Let's bring her on, Margaret Cho.
Hi.
Hey, hi, Margaret. It's great to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you so much. So funny. That bit it's almost like part of your legacy. I remember it was like a HBO comedy special, like from the 90s, sort of this discussion of your name and really sort of honoring and finding ways to talk about your heritage. So funny.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I want to jump right in and get your thoughts on, the buzz in Hollywood over the past week, which was the Emmy Awards on Sunday night. It seemed like diversity, we were moving in this direction. And then with few exceptions, it kind of fell by the wayside when it came to the winners, not to diminish at all the few that did win. But what are your thoughts on how things played out on Sunday night?
Well, I'm really disappointed that my child, Bowen Yang, did not take home an Emmy. We were all, just preparing for the truth of the Emmy win. I mean, it's like really, I don't care if I don't win the Emmy, but I really care it.
And you've been nominated.
Yes, I've been nominated, but I get really upset when my children don't win. So I was offended. I mean, Bowen is so talented and, he's part of this new generation of queer Asian American comedians like Joel Kim Booster and these Robin Tran, also incredible trans comedian from here in Los Angeles. She's just tremendous. And there's so many amazing entertainers who are new and exciting and carrying on my legacy. So I was fuming that Bowen didn't win. She was robbed was, I think, my quote. We were all robbed, but I'm glad that he was nominated. I think that, when we come back to sort of understanding that if we look at the sort of the voting around this, the fields are not diverse either. So we have this perpetuation of the same cycling of these award shows where it's like, well, we sort of leveled the playing field in terms of nominations, but we sort of forgot the idea of the fact that the voting parties are actually not as diverse as who's being nominated. So it's still troubling. It's still something that we need to deal with, but I feel like the more conscious we are of it, the better it'll get.
Yeah, yeah, there's such a legacy there. Plus, Bowen had those amazing shoes that I just wanted to see him show off, to like walk up and like take that award, but it'll happen.
It'll happen. And I sent him a bunch of outfits for future inspiration. I really want to see like a moment of like a Brideshead Revisited, which is kind of an old reference, but that's sort of like, it's very homoerotic. The boarding school with the young man with a giant teddy bear. It's symbolic, but it speaks volumes. So hopefully he'll take that inspiration.
Yeah, you say sort of in jest when you talk about your children, but you have such a legacy in many areas of entertainment, but TV specifically. You've talked about in your act before All American Girl, which was a short-lived show on ABC. And you say in your act that you effed it up. Do you feel that way, or do you feel in part, I mean, once again, that it was a project that both the network and audiences weren't ready for when you look back on it now?
Well, historically, the entire project happened the same year as the LA riots. And so you had a Korean community who were incredibly paranoid about their perception in the media because they'd never seen themselves before. The television show appeared, where this first Korean American family was on television. You saw them on their rooftops with rifles. So there was this sense of being ultra protective over their image, that our appearance in pop culture hadn't existed before. And so there's always that saying, it's like the hardest to be the first. And we actually were the first, predating shows like Fresh Off the Boat and Kim's Convenience by nearly 20 years. So it's a really incredible achievement, but at the same time, I wasn't ready as an artist. Society wasn't ready. Television, there was only 4 networks, really. I mean, you had pay cable that was initially emerging, but it was an entirely different landscape in terms of entertainment. I think nowadays we have many more opportunities for us to see ourselves in all these different ways. But back then it was not the same.
Yeah, I've been a huge fan of, I've been watching Awkwafina, Nora from Queens,
yes.
Which is a lot of fun. And I can't help but think that show in many ways is standing on your shoulders. I mean, it can't, like, everything comes because of what has come before it.
Yes.
So TV is, certainly a part of your legacy, but like your roots are in stand-up from that competition you won when you were a teenager and opening for so many greats. And I know you've talked about Robin Williams and Joan Rivers sort of being your comedy parents. Oh, I love your little pup.
And Lucia is my dog daughter.
Oh, hey there, sweetie. All right, I'm gonna dig mine out. Oh, listen to that growl.
She's mad about the Emmys too. She loves Bowen.
I don't blame her. I'd love to hear more about your relationship with Joan Rivers, who was such an icon for the LGBTQ community. Working with her and sort of how she sort of impacted your career, particularly when it comes to live performance and stand-up.
I think Joan was really amazing because she, again, broke so many barriers. She was the first. I mean, the first female comedian. And, when she was on television doing comedy, heavily pregnant, she wasn't allowed to mention it because this is how censored our lives were, and women's sexuality even extended past to motherhood. It's a very strange thing. So she taught me how to sort of live within the barriers, to thrive within the parameters that society has given you, and then seep out the edges. Like, she was really about subverting the patriarchy, subverting everything, but in a way that was witty and kind, and certainly really raw and raunchy. I mean, she would embarrass me, and I'm very hard to embarrass. But I would see her, which her prime, I think, was doing comedy in her late 60s, early 70s. That was the best time to see her because you could not believe what was coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's great. And so I treasure my time with her. We had a very long, very tremendous friendship and, mentorship. And she just inspired me so much to do what I do now and to accept and understand and enjoy aging, because it's actually the best time of life. So I really love her.
So you're heading out on tour again this fall. Your new show is called Fresh Off the Bloat. What are some of the hot topics that's on your mind these days? How does your show evolve? I mean, you have classic bits, and then it continually sort of regenerates itself.
Well, I think it's constant. You know, right now, today, it's the entire Nicki Minaj debacle. Debacle. I am a Barb, and so I'm really deeply disappointed in her having to sort of like talk about these issues about being afraid to get the vaccine and you know, all of the difficult things that are happening in Texas with the very terrible abortion laws, and you know, these rights that we've lost regarding our bodies, you know. And I think it's really about how justice moves so slowly in imperceptible ways, and how the loss of certain freedoms were so small over time, and they were so imperceptible. People didn't really understand what the loss of Ruth Bader Ginsburg meant. People didn't understand what the addition of, you know, certain people to Supreme Court meant until now. And so I think that it's something that we need to fight. And certainly a lot of this is easier done with comedy, you know, when you can actually speak to it by entertaining people, you can really kind of inform and call to action. So that's what I've always been about. And you'd think that it would have gotten better, but things really haven't.
They haven't. There's just a lot of right material out there for you. Yeah. You could look at it that way.
Really.
Speaking of hot topics, to be, I guess, a little more optimistic and uplifting, it is Bi Week, which is a public awareness campaign to accelerate the acceptance of our bisexual, pansexual, fluid, no label, queer community. You've been so open and informative about this for decades. And we were excited to talk to you over the summer for this feature, The Unicorn is Real, Defying the Myth of Bisexuality. You said in that interview, I have dogs and cats, so maybe that sets me up for bisexuality very well. What's the relationship between dogs and cats and people? Do you think that sort of, you know, drives lesbians towards cats, gay men towards dogs?
I think it's a mythology. It's a mythology that we've been fed by animation.
Interesting.
For many generations, that dogs and cats don't get along, that lesbians and gays don't get along. There was a lot of separate like communities in our larger LGBTQIA community before AIDS. And because of the crisis, I think lesbians understood that they needed to get behind their gay brothers during the AIDS crisis and really form a bond. And so I think slowly we've done this. Over here, my cat's coming in to join the conversation. The cat's joined the chat.
She wants to be a part. I'm not going to be left out.
But I think it's really like when there's crisis, it brings us together, just as the elder part of the gay community really came together when a lot of gay teen suicide was happening at the beginning of the 2011. So you saw older people reaching out to younger people saying it gets better, which was a huge campaign that was really important. And so I think crisis does bring us closer. I think that around a lot of the violence against trans women, we've now really upped our game in terms of inclusiveness around the trans community. And so now, you know, it's really about like putting all the elements together. And bisexuality has long been thought of as a kind of like a stopover before the real destination of gayness.
Right.
And we're sort of like a Frankfurt or Charlotte.
Right.
We're never, or Atlanta or whatever. We're never the place you want to go. But
right.
I think
not anymore.
We are a destination.
Absolutely. I wanted to bring in the story's author, Lauren Emily Whalen, on the show to chat about the topic a little bit more, since you guys had, you ladies rather had, had this conversation. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Matthew. Hi, Margaret.
Hi.
Great to see you and have you with us. Before I step off into our little virtual green room, Lauren, I wanted to ask you, we worked on the story for quite a while, and Margaret was generous enough to take some time to chat with us as well. And we were excited when we came up with this title, The Unicorn is Real. And then we posted it, and a lot of our readers were sort of like pushing back on what that meant. I was wondering if you could explain what that title means and this idea of bisexuality as a unicorn.
Yes, absolutely. Matthew, I remember when we were on the phone, when we settled on this title and we both said, I have goosebumps, this is it. So when I was researching this piece, I found a quote from an activist based in Australia named Alex Wilcock, who said in an essay she wrote for a nonprofit, "What do unicorns and bisexuals have in common? Well, we simply do not exist." And I thought that really spoke to a lot of the bi erasure that happens in both the straight and the LGBTQ communities. As Margaret said, sometimes we're perceived as a stopover. Tag yourself, I'm Atlanta. And there's also a term in the poly community called unicorn hunting, which is when a straight couple seeks a bisexual woman, and that kind of can lead to cliches and stereotypes and things like that. Right. And the erasure can happen not only for people who identify as bi, but people who are pan, people who call themselves queer, who may date somebody who appears to be of another gender, who they themselves may appear to be of a different gender, or things like that. So that was how we got to that title. Yeah,
so fascinating to me. I want to step out for a little bit and let the two of you chat, because I know Margaret has incorporated a lot of these ideas and thoughts in her act over the years, and you have some questions for her. So I'm just going to dash off and let you two chat for a while.
Absolutely, thank you, Matthew. So the first question I wanted to ask you was, and I've noticed this in my own community in Chicago, a lot of people are now coming out LGBTQ as adults. Do you have any advice for those coming out later in life?
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's so great because it's like finally we can reveal another aspect of our identity. And I think that's true for anybody who is lucky enough to get older, is that we learn more about ourselves and we learn deeper truths, ones that aren't necessarily influenced by our upbringing and our families and our places of origin, and that go to the heart of what life is all about. So I love that. And I think it's really embrace it. Know that there's so many communities to be able to be a part of and to really enjoy and explore. And, I think that there's so many things out there that we didn't even know was like a thing, like it's possible. And I found out so much from TikTok. I found out so much from social media in general, but TikTok in particular, because it's a really fun way for people to share identity. And in a very small, like the longest thing you can do is 3 minutes. So it's a small dose of who they are and gives you a sense of what's out there.
Awesome. I remember you were speaking of It Gets Better earlier, and I remember your video really vividly. And I've always loved that you've been very public with exactly who you are and so open about it. And I know that's inspired me and so many people. So when I interviewed you for my Edge story, what had me laughing the most was you said you'd like to bring back older terms like fruit to describe queer people.
Yes.
What do you like about these retro phrases, and do any others come to mind you'd like to bring back?
I like Mary. I like fairy. I like limp wrist. I like that. This is so cute. I mean, yeah. Fruit is really funny because it's just so delicious and juicy, and it's like the sweet part of life. To me, fruit is like very. It's a kind of it is a slur, but it's one that's got sort of like rounded edges. There's no square fruit, really. So I think it's a really beautiful kind of way to reclaim things that have been used to harm us. Mary is just such an old school gay kind of from the sort of gay vernacular of like the 1960s, 1970s. I just watched the documentary The Queen, which really predates RuPaul's Drag Race by 40 something years, and it's all about a drag competition happening in New York in the 60s. So it's an incredible look at what things were, and there's some good terms there. Cross-dressing is often used in sort of place of drag, but I think it's to me it's really about fruit. It's about limp wristing. It's about this kind of rough trade. I love rough trade. That's a term that's still in use. But yeah, to me, all those old terms are really beautiful.
I love that. You heard it here first. We're all bringing back fruit.
Yes.
On a more serious note, mainstream media often talks about challenges the LGBTQ plus community faces, but do you think we also have some house cleaning to do within our community in terms of accepting this more expansive range of sexual and gender identities?
Oh, yes. I think that's really important. I think it's important to root out the discrimination within our own identity, our own bias, because then it kind of leaves you free to keep learning. And I think right now in this era of identity as currency, it's important to keep learning because that makes you have more of a sense of like being able to change with the times. Like I really want to be able to embrace our history, but still look forward. And so that's really kind of coincides with the ability to accept and change and move on with these new ideas.
I really love that. I love the idea of embracing our history while also moving forward. I think a lot of people kind of get stuck in one or the other, and both of those coming together is just really important. Well, Margaret, thank you so much. I grew up on Joan Rivers and you, so this has just been a thrill for me. Thank you.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. It was fun to just eavesdrop on that conversation. I felt like I was at a party, sort of like that wallflower that's like sneaking up to the cool conversation when he's talking to me. No, but now I'm back. Relationships are complicated, and whether they are romantic or platonic, it can be a lot to sort of manage. And sometimes they go off the rails, as exhibited by your latest movie, Good on Paper, with Iliza Shlesinger. Let's take a look at a clip from that really, really funny film.
I always respected that you weren't obsessed with marriage. It was okay that you hadn't reached all your goals by the age of 35.
Wow.
Yeah?
I'm 34.
Do you look 35? A salty 35.
That compliment started great and just...
Dennis is a cuttlefish.
A lesser cuttlefish mate with the females under false pretenses.
So it's like catfishing, but worse.
Cuttlefishing, I love that. We should get him drunk and make him confess.
I got you, girl.
Let's ride.
Felt quite the iron stomach during the Yale years.
Now that he's here, y'all could work it out.
He is unconscious. Was that your plan?
Brings back a lot of memories, I'm sure. It was so much fun.
I love that movie. It's a lot. It gives me Bound vibes, which is an early Wachowski film.
Okay.
That they made before The Matrix. They actually made it to prove that they could make a great movie and got the funding for The Matrix from Bound with Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly, which is that great lesbian heist film where they steal Joe Pantoliano. It's very good.
God,
So,
I'm going to have to watch it.
yeah.
Well, I
it's
watched
great.
it on paper over the weekend, and it was a lot of fun. And I feel like cuttlefish and salty are now other words that I need to add to my vernacular as well.
Yes.
Of course, I have to ask, have you ever dated crazy? Or I guess better question, what kind of crazy have you dated? Because I feel like all of us have gone down that road at some point or another.
So many ways, so many different things. I mean, but at the same time, as I get older, I understand what's satisfying to me. And I think right now, what's great is that I'm able to date, but I still live alone. And I plan on living alone, except with my animals, forever, because I love it. And we were always sort of put to this fear of like being alone in your 50s and beyond is like the worst nightmare, but actually it's the best thing that can happen. So I think your really important significant other is you. And that's the relationship that's most important in life. And so for me, I think it's like the way that I've like looked through relationship and been through a relationship is just so crazy. So I would rather kind of just enjoy my own time, because I've spent my life split with other people negotiating their terms, and I kind of just want to be with my own.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Trust me. There's this lesbian relationship coach that I follow on Instagram. Her name's Megan Luscombe. And she always has all these amazing sort of tips. I'm like, oh, I should do that. I should do that. One of the things she said is a red flag. If the person you're out on a date with labels all of their exes as crazy or psycho, as if we don't have any agency over our own choices, right? So I thought that was an interesting flip of the narrative. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have thoughts on that as well?
I agree.
I mean, lose sight.
Yeah. I mean, I think that everybody has their own degree of damage and how much they apply it to their daily life. And really, it's like we attract like-minded people, no matter how sort of healthy we think that we might be. We attract people who are on the same level. So water seeks its own level. If you've ever had an enema, you know that water seeks its own level.
I can't say that.
So it's a very interesting idea of we're all the same when we're sort of with somebody. You're sort of attracting the same kind of person, and so when we sort of label other people with certain kinds of damage, we have to acknowledge the damage within.
Yeah. And I think that also evolves in how we create and choose our families of choice, our friendships and platonic relationships, which kind of brings me to the film that you just wrapped, Fire Island, which was written and also features Joel Kim Booster, who you mentioned from The Other Two. You need to get on season 3 of The Other Two. Tell me who I can call to make that happen.
I would love it.
Please.
I would love it. I love Joel. Joel is just such a special artist and incredible. And, you know, we had such a great time. You know, I was on Fire Island shooting with this cast of gorgeous young gay men.
Everybody I stalk on social media, Conrad Rockamora, Bowen Yang.
God.
I mean,
Gorgeous.
I'm embarrassed, but I'm just speaking my truth. Stalk all of them.
We love all of the children. So I had a fake podcast network that I made up of everybody's podcast. So Bowen is the Yangover. And it's the morning after every fabulous party he's been to. I think of him as the new Truman Capote.
That's
and
so brilliant.
He's really going to sort of like, you know, disassemble high society showbiz for everyone in the Yangover, the postmortem of every party that he's going to, which I think is fabulous. For your Kimformation is Joel's.
Yeah.
The whole Rick Amora, which is our 360
Conrad.
Anderson Cooper. It's the news with Conrad. I say Tomas Motos. You say Tomas Matos. He's one of the stars. He's so great. So, you know, to me, it's really a fun way to sort of break down my relationships with everyone. But nobody ate carbohydrates for the entire, except me.
Right.
I ate all of the bread,
You ate for everybody.
I ate for everybody. Everybody was in a Speedo every day. Like, some of them had veins on their stomach. Like, I'm like, how is that even? I mean, I usually hang out with bears.
Okay.
So to me, all this of like this sort of gay sort of body, the Adonis Gatsbying was really exciting and new and fun. But they're so funny. And it's a really beautiful story. And, you know, it is that perfect gay summer film, which we've never seen an Asian American version. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Do we know when is it going to be out next summer? Do we know when it?
I think it'll be out. Yeah, maybe a little bit sooner. I know that it'll be out, and it is going to be for Hulu, I believe. So it's a very, very big film, and you know, we just had such a great time making it, and what a great time to spend the summer with these beautiful children.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, it sounds like a blast. I can't wait to see it. Before we let you go, I wanted to ask you one last question because, you know, you've worked in so many different forms, film, TV, stand-up. Is there some kind of through line or core approach that sort of connects all those different mediums for you? I guess you touched upon it a little bit in terms of tapping into sort of the zeitgeist, but is it just in your DNA in terms of how you approach and think about life that informs your humor?
I think so. I mean, I think that comedy, what it is basically the unexpected thought. So people who are comedians are basically thinking in a channel that is often unused. So when you're presenting that to other people, a laugh is a breath that you didn't think you were going to take. And so you're just enabling people to breathe in a sense. As a comedian, that's what I sort of look at it as. Either in shock or clutching their pearls or that thing is really, it's real. So I feel like more of a yoga teacher than anything else.
Well, breath is hugely important. Do you feel being a comedian and being so much in the public eye, like people seeing you in that role, that people expect you to be funny? Is there a burden that comes with that if you just want to hang out and just order pizza and not talk?
I think it's great. I mean, I think it's all great. You know, to me, it's really also about listening. I love to just listen. So, you know, for me, a comedian is really about listening as well. So a comedian embodies all of these things. It's a needed aspect of society, and it's a natural affect to who I am as a person. And like I dream in jokes, which I think is a good way to be.
Have you ever taught? Because just hearing you speak that way just makes me think it would be so amazing for young up and coming comedians to get a sense of how you work.
Oh, definitely. I think it's very, for me, like every time I'm just in the company of somebody like Matt Rogers or Bowen Yang or Joel Kim Booster or any of these wonderful artists who are new and coming up and establishing themselves in this new place, or Awkwafina with Nora, you know, bringing her over to my house and collaborating on things and talking her through things. Like, it's beautiful. So to me, it's like I'm more of like a one-on-one instructor, like a life coach, but very interspersed over time. But I really love that role.
It's so beautiful. Margaret, thank you so much for joining us. I would just love to hang out with you and your dog and your cat.
I love it. Let's do it.
And chat stuff. It was great having you with us. We really appreciate your time. And we want to encourage viewers to catch you on tour this fall and catch Good on Paper on Netflix, airing now. Stream it, log in anytime.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What a great conversation with Margaret. I guess we're going to have to get tickets to her next show instead. We also want to thank Lauren for joining us today. Lauren Emily Whalen's new young adult book. It's called Two Winters. Just came out. I encourage you to check it out. It is a modern queer retelling of Shakespeare's A Winter's Tale. Speaking of things to check out, On the Edge has such a huge slate this fall of episodes that you do not want to miss. Our favorite LGBTQ plus wedding planner, Jason Mitchell Kahn, is joining us on October 5th for tips to create the perfect nuptials. And he just planned Teen Beach Movie and King Cobra star Garrett Clayton's wedding to fiance screenwriter Blake Knight, which I can't wait to hear about. It was an LA garden party. And then on October 7th, we have a special travel episode with Brandon Berkson. Brandon is the founder and chief curator of Hotels Above Par, and we're collaborating with Brandon this fall on a series of exclusively curated LGBTQ plus friendly hotel destinations, and we're going to be offering you a sneak peek at what some of our picks are together. And then finally, on October 19th at 1 o'clock Eastern, we have Skylar Baylor joining us, which I am beyond excited about. Skylar was the first transgender Division I NCAA men's athlete. He's a swimmer. He's incredibly thoughtful LGBTQ plus advocate and the author of a brand new book, which I am reading right now, called Obi is Man Enough. Of course, you can always tune into Edge Media Network for all the latest news and follow us on social media to see those breaking stories first. Until next time, live on the edge.